When you think about Pinocchio, obviously there's one thing that kind of stands out about this whole little fairy tale there, and that's the fact that when Pinocchio tells a lie, his nose gets quite long. As a matter of fact, long enough that you might want to pull it off of him and use it as a club. Well, Lesby actually decided to just take that idea and turn it into a whole secret weapon that you can find in the game if you do everything correct, and then you get this cool little stick nose thing that you can like swing around, and it's a great time. What's up, everybody? This is going to be a guide in Lies of P, where I'm going to be telling you how to get the golden lie weapon, which is kind of a fun one, but you still got to do certain things right in order to make sure that it kind of happens. So, alluding to the whole story of Pinocchio, well, one of the biggest things that you need to do in order to get this weapon is to find the portrait of the boy, Carlo, within the game. As soon as you beat the Black Rabbit Brotherhood, inside of that like house thing, instead of advancing the plot, if you go to the back, you can actually find this portrait just kind of hanging out there. You walk in, you grab it, it's added to your inventory now. Then when you go back to Hotel Crot, if you go upstairs where Geppetto is, you talk to him, you give him the portrait, and then suddenly it's going to be on the wall over here, and then you can look at this little beautiful portrait of yourself as a kid or something like that. It's a little strange. But more importantly, what this portrait is going to do is it's going to reflect your humanity points throughout the game. Of course, the whole idea behind humanity points being how much you are as a human, despite the fact that you are a puppet, which is a whole philosophical debate about like what is a person versus what is a puppet, because puppets can get ego. It's kind of the big theme of what this game actually is. So anytime you do something in the game and then you get that little like, ooh, the P organ's on screen, and it's like you feel warmth or something, that's an indication to where you are humanity-wise. There are 4 unique stages that you can kind of find yourself in, and it's a good way to kind of check what is going on. The first one says your springs are reacting, then the ergo is whispering, you feel warmth, and then lastly your heart is pounding. And as you progress through the story, the more that you do more things that can be associated with humans, the nose is going to actually get longer. And then eventually when it gets to this bursting point, you can actually pull it off the wall and you'll be able to get the weapon there. But the question is, how much like a human do you really have to be? And so in order to maximize your humanity, there's really 3 ways to be able to make sure that you can get this thing. By the way, just a quick FYI, this is going to be very heavy spoilers because a lot of these moments really greatly contribute to your humanity, and they are pretty important story beats. So just be aware of that. If you are watching this video and you don't want it to be spoiled, then you might want to click away until you play through it and then you're doing the New Game Plus run. Now, the earliest time to be able to get this weapon as well is right after you deal with Sophia, which tends to be just kind of a soft lock as to when you can actually pull out the weapon. But if you maximize your humanity points leading up to this point, then that's going to be the very first time you can pick it up. Of course, after Sophia, there are a couple of other opportunities to increase your humanity, so it's not all over just yet, but make sure that you don't start New Game Plus yet, because that will completely reset your humanity, and then you kind of gotta go through the motions once again. So in order to get yourself to level 4, which is your heart is pounding, as for mentioned, the 3 ways you can kind of go about increasing your humanity is listening to records, lying, and then kind of fulfilling some of these larger story beats. For the records, please reference the video guide that I used to show you how to get all of the records in the game, but essentially when you do collect all these records, you actually have to go back into Hotel Crot and listen through all of them. The only time you actually get the humanity bonus is when you sit through the entire track, and so it's kind of a good idea that when you pick up the record in the game, just play it while you're like leveling up, increasing your equipment, all that type of stuff, and then you can just sit around for a little bit and listen to the record, and then once it finishes playing, boom, you get your humanity points for it. The next one is lying at every single opportunity. Once again, have another video guide on that, but every single time you're presented with a lie opportunity, then just make sure to choose the quote-unquote lie. It's a little bit sketchy sometimes because, you know, the lies aren't really straightforward necessarily, but just you can kind of get an idea on what is considered a lie every single time you're presented with one of these choices. The last way that you're able to increase your humanity is actually by these big kind of story beats that happen. So obviously when you're going through the motions and whatnot, certain things will come up throughout the story where you get the opportunity to really increase your humanity. And so it's almost like a natural progression if you keep on going through. I'm also going to include all of the riddles in this as well, because you do stumble upon the telephones and then every single time you answer a riddle correctly, as well as when you get to the very end of the riddles, then that is also going to increase your humanity. So there's so many different ways that you can kind of increase your humanity, but as long as you get to level 4, which is your heart is pounding, and then you go through that whole Sophia business and you choose to set her free, then you should be able to run and go and pick that thing off of the wall. Once again, if you do get to that Sophia choice and you're like, oh no, I forgot to listen to all the records, you can go back and do that. Oh no, you need to do all the riddles as well, you can go back and do that. It's just, as soon as you hit that new game plus state, that will reset all of your humanity, like I said earlier in this video. So just be cognizant of that, but essentially anytime after Sophia is fair game. Just make sure to do everything in your power to make sure that you're maximizing your humanity before you decide to reset everything. And then once you've got enough humanity, if you go upstairs and walk up to the portrait, then boom, you can pick up that stick off the wall, and your nose is gonna be the golden lie weapon, which you can utilize in combat. It kind of reminds me of like the combat from like Sun Wukong, you know, how he has that giant like stick thing that he's like moving around. That's kind of the way that P fights with it as well, but it is a pretty unique weapon. As for basic stats for this thing, the motivity and technique are both at that C level, so if you give it one of those cranks to increase it whichever way you spec, then that's something you can do to increase its power. And it is considered a special weapon as well, so you can't change up the handle or the blade on this thing, and it is going to be locked in with its Fable Arts. The blade's Fable Arts is called Storm Attack, which basically is going to be 3 consecutive strikes forward, which you can see right here. And the handle Fable art is called Furious Golden Hits, where basically you're defending and attacking at the same time if you just hit the button, and then you can really just kind of get some combos going and stagger people, which is honestly pretty useful. One thing I will note about these 2 Fable Arts is that they do cost 3 Fable Art slots each, so this is a very technique-based weapon in my opinion, where you kind of want to maximize the Fable Art regeneration stuff, so then that way you can continue to use these techniques over and over again. As somebody who went for a little bit more of a strength build, this wasn't necessarily the weapon for me, but if you did kind of maximize your technique and then also too manipulated your P organ to make sure that you were generating as much Fable as possible, then I can really see this thing being a pretty darn good weapon. But okay, I hope this guide helped. It's so difficult to kind of pull in all of the different ways that you can increase your humanity just into a single video, and that's why there are so many different video guides for specific things, whether or not it's the lies, the records, the Trinity Sanctums. But in general, once again, you gotta pull all that stuff together, and as long as you're paying attention to it, then you should be able to pick this nose off the wall without really getting any difficulty there. I can't believe I just said pick your nose. But okay, if you are having trouble, then please check out the spreadsheet that I have listed in the description, because it's going to list out every single event that you can kind of do, whether or not it's cryptic vessels, whether or not it's the lies, whether or not it's the records. It's just a good way to keep track of everything that is going on in the game to make sure that you do maximize those humanity points so that that golden nose can be yours. This might be my final Lies of P video, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this guide has been helpful to some of you at the very least, and appreciate you guys for leaving a like and subscribe if it did help you in any sort of way. Seriously, thank you so much for watching the videos. Honestly, I'm very surprised with the response to the All Lies video that I did last time. You guys are honestly the best, and it's good to know because I spent a lot of time mapping everything out in Lies of P. So it's good to see that people are actually utilizing that knowledge and I didn't just do it for myself. It is very reassuring to see. All right, with that, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you in the next video, whatever that's going to be. Appreciate it, and we'll catch you later. Bye, everyone.